Hello there, Mac friends. Brent Deverman here, and I'm going to show you a new feature of BBEdit, which is a text editor from Barebones Software. And they've added some AI features, which I use on a regular basis because I've gotten in the habit of using this text editor for many years. It's the most Mac-like text editor. It does everything in a very Mac way, and that is why I kind of hold on to it, even though there's a lot of other text editors that have eclipsed it. And so let me show you what they did with their AI Sheets. You can see we're on the website here for BBEdit. You want to get version 15. That's what it has. I think it's 15.5 as of this recording. It costs about $60 for a one-time purchase for that major version, and then you get upgrades until the next major version comes out. So it's actually quite reasonable. It's been around so long, they still don't do subscriptions. And they do have a free mode. I don't know how much support they have for the AI worksheets in free mode, because I've got the paid mode, and we're going to go through the paid version of BBEdit in this video. So let's go. I'm switching over to BBEdit, and what you can do here is they have a worksheet that option now where you can create a new worksheet. And these, if you're familiar with BBEdit, you can also do shell worksheets. So you basically have a terminal inside BBEdit, and this is considered an AI chatbot inside BBEdit. So you can see that I have created this new worksheet, and down at the bottom is where you choose the model that you want to use. And you can see there's a lot here, much more than it comes with, because I've done some customization, and I'll show you how to add your own models later on. Now, we'll take this, so right now we're going to use Grok, and we're going to use the Grok 3 beta. So, I can say, what is the best text editor for coding on Mac? Okay. Now let's see what Grok will tell us. Very curious. Never asked this question. This is the first time. And so it's sending out to the server and coming back. It probably takes a while. I've had times where it has timed out as well, but this time it did quite lengthy one. Okay, so when I say best, it starts out with Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, Atom, which I don't think is really supported anymore, Xcode, and BBEdit is number 6 here. So beginners, Visual Studio Code, web development, VS Code, BBEdit, Apple development, Xcode, etc. So that's where you have your question. In quotations, you have your answer. And then you can go back and forth, and it will remember it. So we can say, what are the main features of BBEdit that make it Mac-like? Okay. Let's move myself over there. All right. And so then when you hit, what you want to do is you get to the end of the line, and you want to send it to the chat, to the AI. You hold down the control key and you hit return. And you can see that it's going to spin. That's what actually activates the conversation. And then we get the result back. While we're waiting for the result, let's go look at the settings that have been added for this. Okay. So I'm going to bring up the settings, and we're going to take a look at the result here. So it came up with some of the top reasons why it's Mac-like. Native integration with Mac OS, file system integration, text handling like the Mac OS, terminal and Unix integration, Finder integration, long-standing Mac heritage, support for Mac-specific features. So that's 8 reasons why it's a good Mac text editor. Okay. So now when I did this AI sheet, you'll notice that it didn't ask me for an API key. But what's good is, like, you don't, like I said, BBEdit doesn't have a subscription. You just enter the API keys. And the first time you use a model, if it doesn't have the API key, it's going to ask you to enter it and get it. So then you can go to the back end and use the API key to use this AI. And you can clear the API keys. They're stored in the keychain. I'm not going to do that now because I have too many models and I don't want to re-enter it. But you can see here that BBEdit comes with some Claude models, but when I installed it, it came with Claude 3.5 models, right? Okay, so Claude, and actually maybe it came with Claude 3 models. So yeah, it still has the Claude 3 models there. So I had to add Claude Floor by creating a JSON file. And so it comes with ChatGPT, Claude, and I believe it comes with Ollama as well. So what's nice is you can use the local models through Ollama. It has that support. So you can see there, but it only lists like the basic Ollama models that were there when they released BBEdit. And I ended up creating my own list of models based on what I have installed on my computer as well. So what's good is this is extensible, and you can use multiple API services. And when you do, you just enter the API key you need. So I've told it to default to Grok, but I can change the Grok model as well. And now, that you can now you can switch from different models. So I think another interesting part is if you want to copy and paste, say, part of this, we can go to an empty window here and we can paste it, and you can see that the quotes are gone. So it's actually very smart about copying and pasting this and using it somewhere else. So if you try and ask it to write some code, you can copy and paste that. I will say these sheets are just for chatting. They are not agentic. It's not going to change your files and do things like what Cursor does, and things like the Z editor as well. So unfortunately, it's not there for that. But it's still good, especially when you want to use local models for asking questions. Okay, and then I think what's also interesting is you can then save these sheets, and I will save it, and it has a extension of a BBEdit worksheet. Okay, so BB AI worksheet is the extension it gets. So you can store your chats on disk, and I guess I find that also quite refreshing in that you can have a local copy of your chat as well. So how did I add these models? I think that's the next thing to show you. So I'm going to bring up a project. So I just opened a folder of my repository for bringing up these models. And BBEdit has a AI worksheet configuration. This AI worksheet configuration you can get to from the BBEdit settings folders, and you can go to application support, I believe. Okay, and in that application support folder, you have chat API descriptions, and you have these JSON files. So these are the JSON files that I added. Once you put those files there, the models are available to you. And now let's go through what these JSON files contain. And there is a tech note on this. I'll link to it in the description of the YouTube video where you can take a look. Basically, here is how I added the extra Claude ones, is that I basically copied this from their tech note. I include the document type, format version, and then there's identifier. And so I call this Claude-extra. So that's not to conflict with the models they already have from Claude. And there's a display name as well. And then you want to get the endpoint. So the endpoint, and you also want to get the model names. So both the endpoint and the model names, you're going to have to go into the website of the AI company. They're going to have that in their API documentation, where you create a API key, which you also need, but you don't put it in this document. Then there is some additional things you can do for parameters, such as the maximum number of tokens and the default model to use, which I should change to Claude Sonnet 4. So let's copy and paste that model there. You have where you can get the API key, and you have where you can log in for your account. So it allows you to kind of bundle the information about the various models together. If you see, we have Grok, very similar thing with XAI endpoints, the list of models, and then for the local Ollama, you're going to do your endpoint as localhost with this port 11434. So just look up the documentation there. And with Ollama, I would get a list of models that I have locally. So we can open up our shell worksheet to do that. And we have the shell worksheet here. And I think we can do something like this: Ollama list, and hopefully it will find the Ollama command. And I hit control command, so that's CSH, and I'm hoping that it will print out the list here. Okay, maybe let's try one more time here. There we go. Okay, so control return, we have the list here, and so then I can take any of these models and I can add it there. So I actually think I made a mistake with the DevStro one, and I should update it to be that one. And let's make, the default model is Google's Gemma model. Okay. So based on that, you can add new models for whatever AI large language model that comes out. And it's great to be able to keep updated. I did find one catch. I know that Grok had added a way to have a flag so that the API could use search functionality. And it turns out that there's not a way currently in BBEdit to structure the JSON to add that parameter. And I've emailed the authors of BBEdit at Barebones, and they confirmed this. Hopefully they'll add that in the future to make this more flexible as the models evolve and they get more capabilities. It'd be really great to, be able to send other API parameters and not be as restricted. But so I use this on a regular basis when I want to do queries about things that I don't necessarily need to do an internet search on, and I don't necessarily need, a whole fancy formatter. I just need text. Maybe it's something quick, and I don't really want to go off to the web. And of course, if I'm not online, then I'm going to use this to interact with my Ollama models, which is also very good. If you use BBEdit and have any other tips on how to be productive with these AI sheets in BBEdit, please leave a comment for me on the video and I'll respond to you. Thanks a lot, and I will see you next time.